Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shahab Karni from Television I-95 DC studio. I'm here tonight with a very amazing, powerful, very exciting, very successful story. I have with me Delegate Sam Rasoul. Delegate, welcome to my studio, sir. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Shahab. Great to be with
All
you.
right. Thank you for joining me in a short notice. Please tell our viewers, how you got into politics and what's the journey of progress coming from the first generation new American immigrants. What happened? Tell us something.
Yeah, I never thought I'd get involved. And then in 2007, 2008, I ran for Congress as the youngest congressional candidate in America here in the western part of Virginia. Won the nomination, lost in the general, but I learned a lot. And we began to advance a different type of politics. The way we connect is important, grassroots, values-based. Fortunately, 7 years ago, I was elected to the Virginia House of Delegates as the first Muslim ever elected in Virginia history. And the way we were elected was the important piece. You know, I'm out here as a religious and ethnic minority in Western Virginia. We were elected by building broad coalitions and bringing people together. This is really at the core of what I believe in, and this is what we're trying to push further into democratic politics.
Amazing, And did you had any kind of roadblocks when you ran your first campaign in that part of Virginia? I mean, any challenges or issues that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, there are always several pieces. There were always things said about my faith, my family, things like that. We never let that bring us down. And even the wonderful story about when we were actually elected to this seat, the day before my election, there were mailers that were mailed all across my city that said, guess who's funding Sam's campaign? Al-Qaeda sympathizers are funding Sam's campaign. In an election where we thought it would be 50-50, it was very close on paper, lots of money coming from the other side. What we found is that when you speak to people's better angels, beautiful things can happen. And we won in a 40-point landslide, 70-30, winning every Republican precinct except for two. And we validated our belief that a different type of politics has a place in Virginia. And we were happy to be able to begin serving. And now I'm in my fourth term.
What an amazing story for the new young people to come into mainstream politics in America. That, well, if you address in a right way, in a positive way, definitely most of the old thinking Americans, they're nice people. They're, as you said, angels, but the only thing is that you need to communicate. You need to have the right approach. Am I right?
That's exactly right. You know, when you approach things through common values, when we understand that voting is not a logical decision based upon issues, voting is an emotional decision based upon relationships and people's degree of safety and feeling that they have about an issue, a candidate meaning, and a party. This is what really drives votes. This has really been the core to our success. And so I hope as people are thinking about being involved and continuing to be involved in all walks of life, that you come back to your core values and that know that people can see what's at the heart of my faith tradition, which is your intention. And that's the most powerful piece in politics that I have found.
Now, recently you have decided to run for the lieutenant governor in the state of Virginia. First thing, I mean, why you decided to do that. The second thing is, tell us about the office itself, because in different states, it's a different variation. I mean, for example, in other states, it's one ticket, top ticket, governor, lieutenant governor, one ticket. But in Virginia, you have separate electoral base, and the process. So please make ourselves aware, how this office functions.
Yeah, first, the office is completely separate from the governor, so the race is completely separate. You're exactly right. The lieutenant governor, many times in some states, run with the governor, like the president and vice president. This is not like the president and vice president. They're two separate elections. And so I'm running to be lieutenant governor of Virginia, which would be historic in many different ways, which we can talk about later. But, the big reasons for running are twofold. Number one, of course, I want to continue to elevate issues that I'm very passionate around socio-emotional development of our children, around the environmental pieces that I'm very passionate about, the social and criminal justice reform that needs to be brought. But beyond that, for me, it's always been about advancing this philosophy in a better type of politics. And so I'm running a whole campaign around my 3 family values. Always tell the truth, always be kind, and never give up is the way my wife and I raise our 3 kids. And that truth, love, and grit are actually the way our whole campaign is structured, building a people's platform that is crowdsourced ideas from all across Virginia, building a way to connect with voters that connects them to the government services that they need to build trust in institutions, and then me physically visiting in a safe way every city and county in Virginia to gather stories so they can be documented and carried with us all across the Commonwealth.
So it's bringing people together, from different color, different faith, and different political philosophies. So, Delegate, my question to you: how, for example, how this office will be important if you win that election? How effective you will be in the public policy arena in the state of Virginia?
Well, one of the biggest things, of course, is just having that platform certainly elevates issues that I'll be passionate about, number one. Number two, being the presider over the Senate, casting the critically important votes that we do in the Senate. The lieutenant governor has clearly shifted policy in recent years in Virginia, partnering with the incoming gubernatorial administration to find ways of being able to elevate certain policy, finding ways of working with the administration and getting that done. And then something that's also important to me in Virginia, where the Biden-Harris ticket has won by 10 points, now is a great time to continue to do some party building where we can think about all of Virginia, including the rural parts of Virginia and other marginalized communities that need to be lifted up and maybe have not been quite as brought into politics. And so that's important to me. And clearly, we've seen over time lieutenant governors go on to be able to even elevate that further.
So, in other words, the new team in play in White House starting January 20th next year, which is almost 3 to 4 weeks. So, a person like you who has been there in House of Delegate for some years in state of Virginia, and who understand, and you are next door to Washington, D.C. So a person like you, if you were the lieutenant governor in the Commonwealth state of Virginia, you can be a good bridge maker between the new administration in the White House and the state of Virginia, which ultimately will be very, very fruitful and productive for the common citizens in Virginia. Is that so right?
Yeah, I would love to continue to be able to work with so many of my friends who are transitioning into the Biden administration, trying to make sure that issues that are important to everyday Virginians are reflected in the policies that are coming out of this new presidential administration, as well as in the U.S. House, and having that higher platform to build on those connections that we've made over the past decade and a half, of course, will be paramount. But one of the most historic pieces, Shahab, of our campaign, beyond some of the kind of obvious pieces, is that we will be the first campaign to ever win statewide in Virginia history, being 100% funded by only individuals. And just in the first 5 weeks of my campaign, we've had over 1,200 contributions. So we've seen a great swell of support, including endorsements from state senators all the way down to school board members. We feel like we're building a different type of movement here that I think everyone can be proud of.
When is the primary?
The primary is in June. Early voting starts in May. So it's right around the corner for us. We are anxious to get going, get our engagement up with folks. Of course, needing as much financial and other support as possible. So it's right around the corner for us.
And how many candidates in the primary, Delegate?
There's a 7-way race for the Democratic nomination. In Virginia, the plurality wins. So 30% of the vote could win the nomination and carry us into November. So we are working hard to build our winning coalition for the election this upcoming November.
So what do you need from this citizens of the state of Virginia? What message do you want to extend through our network what do you need? Of course, you just said number one is financial assistance, because this is people's campaign, not lobbying or big blogs or interest group, but these are individual matters. So what are you going to say about that?
Yeah, for us, the most critical piece is this upcoming December 31st financial deadline. It's the only important deadline of the whole campaign. We're trying to make sure we post a real strong number so people can see that we are solidly in their favor. People can go to Sam, the number 4, va.com and learn more and be able to click on links to donate there. We hope to have their support in addition to needing support to do some large outreach across the Commonwealth. This will need everyone, and so we welcome your financial support as well as outreach.
Can you repeat your website address, please, for one more time?
Yep, it's Sam, then the number 4, and then VA for Virginia, samforva.com.
So it's a .com, right? Okay,
Yep.
not .us. Okay, that's great. So anything else we can do to get your message out? Please feel free to add something. Other than that, Delegate, as I said, thank you very much for joining me at a very short notice. Wish you all the best, because we need more and more people like you in the mainstream political arena. So any final word that you would like to add?
Well, it's been an honor to be in public service for these past 7 years, going into my 8th year. We feel as though we brought a different tone to politics in Virginia. We think now is the time, especially after the past 4 years that we've had, to elevate the conversation. And so we hope that you'll be able to be a part of this movement as we hope to truly make some history in 2021. So thank you, Shahab, for your kindness, generosity, and support of our efforts to get our message out there. And we look forward to gathering the support of all of your wonderful viewers.
Thank you, Delegate Sam Rasoul. It was really a great honor for us, and good luck. Thank you. All right.